A brand new month is approaching, and that means it's the perfect time to let go. You can play the 30-day minimalism game and also download our free printable 30-day minimalism game calendar over at theminimalists.com/game. Enjoy.
The Minimalists.
Jackson's asking, why did you choose Netflix over other platforms for the release of Less Is Now?
Dude, they're a good home. Netflix is great to work with. Yeah. What was that look?
No, I mean, yeah, it's we really, it's not like we, with this specific film, we didn't go shop it around everywhere. Like minimalism had done so well. Didn't we bring Less Is Now to a couple other streaming services?
No, what we did was we took the trailer and the 20-page proposal that I put together and gave it to our agent and gave Netflix basically the first right of refusal.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Now, it was different with the first film. The first film, they turned us down twice.
Right.
And we didn't even get a meeting with them or anything. It was just a hard no via the intermediary who we were working through. And so we did our own theatrical release. We put it on Vimeo for 90 days, and then we put it on iTunes and everywhere else. But it did so well on iTunes that it got their attention, and they came to the table and said, okay, yeah, we'll give you some money. We eventually found out there was some fuckery going on there as well, which we won't get into.
We can't really
details,
talk about.
But
I'll tell you what, though. I'm so glad, though, of all the fuckery that just happened to get it on Netflix. Because if it would have just went straight to Netflix, we wouldn't have got as many lessons out of it that we did.
Yeah.
And for those lessons, I am truly grateful. And there's something there about, hey, look, you can be told no twice. That's okay. You don't need permission from Netflix or from a publisher or from whatever to like put your work out there. Yeah. And if you do good work, like people are going to notice. It doesn't matter how many times you get told no. Like do good work. Don't worry about who's telling you yes or no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think for somebody who's starting out and that maybe their end goal is to get on a Netflix.
Is that a good goal?
I don't think it's going to make them happy personally. Like it's the same thing as being like, I want 3 million subscribers or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that maybe if you want to make an impact, that's one thing. If you really want to create a story and share it with people, that's another thing. And so for me, like my end goal, my end dream was not to get on a Netflix, but I understand that appeal and I understand why people would want that. And it certainly does it doesn't necessarily open up doors. Maybe it opens up doors, but you still have to like knock on the doors. You still have to go out and find those opportunities, and having that credit certainly helps to say, oh, I made a Netflix documentary. Then it's like some people see that as like validation that, okay, this person's probably good at what they do.
Could you imagine if that was our end goal though? Of like one day we're going to be on Netflix, because it's like my family, I'll be talking to them, or, when the documentary first came out on Netflix, they were like so impressed. And they're like, oh, wow, you finally made it. Like, you're on Netflix. And I'm like, this is the beginning. Like, this is
I made it a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. But, Netflix being the end goal, could you imagine if we just like, well, we did it. We're done. Like, that's, yeah.
I don't do goals, but like the time I realized we made it was our very first tour stop, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yeah.
It was November 2011, and 8 people showed up.
It was great.
And I'm like,
we're huggers. I guess we're huggers.
By the way, I've never been more successful than that.
Yeah.
Everything that's happened since then, we've spoken in front of 15,000 people before. I've never been more successful than that day.
Yeah.
Because I've never needed any additional validation, and anytime I catch myself feeling like because it can become addictive, right? We've said no to a bunch of media over the last 3 years because I realized like, oh, I'm starting to want this.
Yeah. And
if I want this, that's empty.
That's interesting, man.
If you show up empty, you're going to leave empty. It's not going to fill you up. Yeah. If you show up full, though, like we did in St. Peter, right? We showed up full for that.
Yeah.
We left full as a result.
And to your point about the crowd of 15,000, like we have talked in front of a crowd of 15,000 people. That's easier to me than that crowd of 8 that we had.
I agree with that too.
Because and the quality of those interactions with the 8 people versus the 15,000 here's a talk. The quality is so much. There's just so much more quality there with that smaller group.